what are some of the things that organization wide you're thinking about? Is it really pace of change and keeping up, and
Mm.
or is it breaking down process services, making those easier? Like what's the biggest thing right now?
Oh, that's a great question. It's really shifted, I'd say, over the last year. I think, as an organization, it's not that, and I think this would apply to everybody listening, regardless of what your business is or how large you are or what your market is. Um, you really want to, I think, focus on the areas that are going to have the best return for that time or that money. And as I mentioned a little bit ago, what's happening within the software development lifecycle is the single most momentous and impactful change, I think, within AI. And that is because we now have AI coding assistants that can code on par with humans, but they don't get tired, and they don't their attention doesn't fade, and they don't complain, and they can work 24/7. Do they make mistakes? Absolutely, they make mistakes. They can go find those mistakes and fix them. So one of the biggest things we're doing is we are trying to, as much as we can, be at the tip of that spear on revolutionizing our own software development practices so that we can be best of breed and we can take that to our clients. We're not hired very often to come in and say, teach us how to use the latest AI coding agents, but we're getting that more and more, and we're really good at it already. And it's
Yeah.
already changed how we do stuff. So, for example, to be concrete, user interfaces are something that we don't really code anymore. You just tell the AI what you want,
Yeah.
and you can get entire, complete, functional web apps or desktop apps in a matter of hours now. Well, that's changing things for us. So I would say, Bryon, the number one thing is we're really focused on making sure we're getting as much leverage as we can out of these new AI coding agents. The other is really more broad. For example, within finance, within the last 6 months, it's become possible that you can use foundational models, whether you're using OpenAI or you're using Anthropic. You can literally take these models, especially something like, let's say, Opus 4.6, point it to a directory of thousands of spreadsheets or PDFs or documents, Word documents, whatever they may be, and say things like, go do a financial analysis of the last 10 years, find mistakes, make recommendations, put together a complete presentation for the executive team. Once all that's done, it can help you practice the presentation. That is something that any organization right now listening to this can do. There's not heavy lift. You can just go get an enterprise license and make that happen. And then we're using AI very deeply within HR, of course, I think, like most organizations. And then on the strategy side, it's been a game changer. So imagine you're KUNGFU.AI. You hire us to come help you figure out what your opportunities are, as we mentioned earlier. Build versus buy. Do you have the data? What will be the return on this investment? And you have maybe tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of employees, and there are dozens of stakeholders that you need to interview, and documents you need to review, and platforms you need to analyze. We are now able to leverage these AI techniques to help us across the board with all of that. We'll do interviews, we record that. We can use the AI transcript to summarize it. We can use that to help us surface what questions should we have asked.
Yeah.
What help us understand, based upon that meeting, what we heard from these stakeholders that's different from what we heard from these stakeholders, or where there was contradictions that, obviously in very large organizations, sometimes the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. I could go on and on and on. So AI is pervasive across our entire organization, yet We are still every day looking at ways we can get better at it and and have it be more the tool we reach for first, and less of like, oh, hey, you know what? AI could help us with that. And thinking of that second.